Hello, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining Trail International and ForwardKeys for today's webinar. Today, we're looking forward to sharing with you the most up-to-date information on Chinese flight bookings and travel sentiment, just in time for the Mid-Autumn Festival and National Day Golden Week holiday, an 8-day public holiday period in China, which starts this Friday. My name is William Rolls, and I am Director of International Markets at Trail International. Many of you will be familiar with Sienna, who is currently on maternity leave. So during her absence, we will have a few different moderators during this time. I'm joined today by my Trail research colleagues, Tiana and Janice, as well as by ForwardKey's China market expert, Nancy Dai. Next page, please. We're going to start with a brief update on the latest news and information about Chinese outbound travel. We'll then turn over to Nancy to present the data from ForwardKeys on Chinese flight bookings, international flight capacity, and passenger profiles. Then Janice will share the results of Trail's brand new Chinese traveler sentiment report based on a survey conducted in August. At the end of the webinar, we will be able to take your questions in a live Q&A. Please do feel free to send in questions at any point during the webinar by using the Q&A button on your Zoom control panel. And we'll answer as many as we can at the end of the session. This webinar is being recorded, and we'll follow up with everyone after the webinar to share a link to that recording, as well as send you all the webinar slides. So you'll have all the materials from today's session for future reference and to share with your colleagues. Next page. Before we get started, I'd like to quickly introduce Trail International for any of you who might not know us. We are a marketing solutions company headquartered in Beijing, with offices in Shanghai, Xi'an, and in the UK. Our work focuses on B2C and B2B marketing for Chinese outbound tourism, and we're proud to work with leading tourism brands from all around the world, including tourism boards, hotels, airlines, attractions, and more, to help them attract the Chinese outbound tourism market. Our services include digital marketing, events, representation services, research, and strategy consulting. You can find more information about our services, clients, and case studies on our website, dragontrail.com. Our research arm, Trail Research, was founded in 2019. In addition to the Chinese traveler sentiment surveys that we've conducted regularly since the spring of 2020, we also offer research service to clients, including bespoke surveys, focus groups, travel trade insights, and more. So next page, please. So let's start with the biggest developments recently for Chinese outbound travel. Tiana, please take it away.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Tiana, and I'd like to give an update on the latest news of Chinese outbound travel. On 10th August 2023, China's Ministry of Culture and Tourism published a new list of 78 countries where Chinese travel agencies can sell outbound group tours and travel packages. Before the new list, there were only 60 countries on the list for outbound group and package travel sales, and now there are about 138 countries, which is actually more than in 2019 before the pandemic. And from a Chinese policy perspective, outbound travel is now totally recovered to how it was before COVID. And we can see that the government's commitment to the recovery of outbound travel is very good news for Chinese outbound travel agencies and should help a lot with market recovery for this year's October holiday and beyond. And from August 30th, all travelers coming to China are no longer required to have nucleic acid tests or antigen tests before entering China. The normalization of the procedure for coming to China makes it easier for Chinese travelers to return home. And also, according to the statistics from China's National Immigration Administration, there were about 168 million border crossing in the first half of 2023, representing a year-on-year increase of 170% and accounting for 48.8% of the same period in 2019. More than 10 million passports were issued during this period, accounting for 78.2% of the same period in 2019. And the border crossing and passport data during 2023 summer period shows a steadily increasing trend. The border crossing increased by around 20% from July to August compared to data from May to June. And also starting from this Friday, Chinese tourists will enjoy an extended 8-day national holiday. The search data from OTA's platform shows strong enthusiasm of Chinese travelers traveling during this national holiday. On Ctrip's platform, outbound travel hotel searches increased by 20%, and flight searches nearly recovered 100% compared to 2019. And also, Tongcheng Travel's data shows the average price of international air tickets on September 29 is 72% higher than the average price during the summer. And as for the recent visa policies for Chinese outbound travel, we can see that before the national holiday, many countries take some measures to attract more Chinese travelers. For example, Thailand announced the country will start a 5-month visa waiver program for China from September 25 until February 29, 2024, which covers both the national holiday and Spring Festival. Also, Georgia introduced a visa-free regime for Chinese citizens from 11 September. And also, the South Korea government waived visa application fees for Chinese group tourists from September 10th, 80 to December 21st. So thanks for listening, and that's all for the latest travel news.
Now, I'd like to turn over to Nancy at ForwardKeys to share their data on flight bookings. So Nancy, if you'd like to bring up your presentation.
Yeah, thank you, William. Okay, so hi there, I'm Nancy, an insights expert at ForwardKeys. Before I start, just a few words about what we do and who we are. We are a travel analytics company specialized in the air travel market. So on the supply side, we know how many seats airlines schedule. On the demand side, we monitor the bookings made and tickets issued. All of this in near real time. For the past 11 years, we have been using big data to help governments and travel business across the world to understand current and future travel trends. You can visit our website to learn more about what we do. Okay, now let's kick off things with an overview of the travel trends in China. China's economic growth is indicating a decline for the current year. When we look at the PMI, which serves as an indicator of the economic trends in both the manufacturing and service sector. However, fortunately, it appears that the economic downturn has not had an impact on the recovery of the tourism sector. Chinese travel is consistently bouncing back, with domestic travel surpassing the levels seen in 2019 by 11% in August, and outbound travel has reached 51% of 2019's levels. Why is that? From government's perspective, with real estate no longer driving the economy, there's a need to find new drivers of the economic growth. Tourism has the potential to boost consumer spending, and the government has introduced several tourism-friendly policies, like giving out travel vouchers and resuming group tour travel. From a consumer perspective, there's a concept called the lipstick effect. This suggests that during economic downturns, products like lipstick become more popular. When the economy isn't doing well and people are feeling more stressed, they tend to opt for small, affordable luxuries that help them relax and feel better without breaking the bank. These items are often referred to as lipstick products, and travel happens to fall into this category. On the other hand, 3 years after the pandemic, people are engaging in what's often referred to as revenge travel, and they are placing greater importance on the value and quality of their trips. So we say that economic downturn may not have a particularly impact on tourism, but it could lead to changes in consumer travel behavior. We will investigate more about this later. Now let's take a closer look at how different destinations are doing for Chinese travelers. The African and Middle Eastern destinations have bounced back the strongest, with only a 21% dip compared to 2019 levels this summer. In the Asia-Pacific region, things are improving, but there are still a 46% decline compared to 2019. Now, when we talk about long-haul destinations in the Americas and Europe, they are still facing some struggles, seeing a substantial 60% drop from pre-pandemic times. When we check out the destinations that have shown resilience in travel, it's interesting to note that all the top 10 destinations are places where travel agencies can now organize group tours. Australia, South Korea, and the UK have been added into the list recently. It's worth highlighting that group tours to South Korea have made a comeback for the first time in 6.5 years, following a ban in 2017 due to political tensions. As of September, South Korea introduced special measures to attract more Chinese tourists, as Tiana also mentioned before. So they waived travel visa application fees and also simplified the duty-free test refund process. We can see that improved visa convenience is one of the key elements that impact the destination preference of Chinese travelers. Hong Kong and Macau have been making noteworthy progress in this regard. Recent studies from the immigration underscore the recovery trend. As also Tiana mentioned before, the number of travel permits issued for visit to Hong Kong and Macau have recovered quite well. Another crucial factor to consider is the timing of the major public holidays. Golden Week, along with Lunar New Year and the summer holiday season, are major periods when Chinese travelers often embark on international trips. And now let's check out what's on the horizon for the upcoming Golden Week travel. As of 15th of September, bookings for the upcoming Golden Week travel period are down by 39% compared to 2019's levels. However, there's some good news. The current outlook for travel on this year's peak day, 29th of September, is already at 93% of the pre-pandemic levels. We have observed a shift in the travel patterns of Chinese outbound travelers. In the past, there were two clear peak periods for Chinese travel, one just before Golden Week began and another one on the third day of the Golden Week. However, this year, we can see that people are starting their trip earlier to avoid crowds and are more willing to extend their stays at their chosen destinations. When we look at the destinations, travel within Asia is only down 33% on pre-pandemic levels. Macau, Hong Kong, and Malaysia have already outperformed 2019's levels, thanks to their easier access, various incentives, and promotions. For instance, Hong Kong's Cathay Pacific is offering a generous 83,000 flight tickets for travelers departing from 14 major cities in mainland China. These tickets are valid for travel until May next year. Tourism Malaysia is also stepping up its game in China by intensifying marketing efforts, and they have recently launched another tourism roadshow in several major Chinese cities to attract visitors. Indonesia is experiencing a strong recovery as well, reaching 75% of pre-pandemic levels. This resurgence can be attributed to improved flight capacity between China and Jakarta, which has already exceeded 2019 levels by 4% in September and October. Interestingly, some of the traditional popular destinations in Asia are not on this list. Take Thailand, for example, which has been experiencing a slower than expected recovery due to factors such as sluggish growth in flight volumes, rising travel costs, and concerns related to safety. However, there's hope on the horizon as Thailand just announced a 5-month visa exemption for Chinese tourists. We'll have to wait and see if this move helps them catch up in the near future. Outside of Asia, Egypt, a relatively niche market, is growing significantly, supported by 40% increase on seat capacity between Cairo and China. The UAE and Turkey are gaining popularity also thanks to excellent flight connections and strong partnership with China through the One Belt and One Road initiative. And on top of that, all these destinations have relaxed their visa requirements. So could this be the secret recipe? The UK's impressive performance is partly fueled by a significant increase in bookings from overseas Chinese students preparing to return to school in late September. Furthermore, New Zealand and the UK were introduced as group tour options starting in August. Many travel agencies have been proactively promoting a range of travel packages for these long-haul destinations during Golden Week, resulting in a spike in their popularity. During Golden Week, when we look at the travel in China domestic, we see a remarkable surge with the number of travelers exceeding 2019's level by 7%. While Haikou and Sanya remain popular, the most desired domestic destinations for tourists are mainly in the northeast and west region, known for their splendid autumn scenery. Cities like Chengdu, Beijing, and Urumqi were particularly favored by travelers. Additionally, a noteworthy trend this year is the following the shows to travel approach, where young travelers plan their trips around plays, concerts, and performance. Chengdu is hosting a number of such cultural events during the Golden Week, making it even more attractive for travelers. Okay. And then let's see how passenger profiles of Chinese travelers have changed after the pandemic. We have observed that 37% of travelers plan to stay in their destinations for 6 to 8 nights, which represent a 3 percentage point increase compared to 2019 levels. Meanwhile, 28% of travelers intend to stay between 4 to 5 nights, making a 3 percentage point decrease. Additionally, only 11% are planning shorter stays of 1 to 3 nights, which is a 1 percentage point decrease from 2019. Chinese travelers show an increased desire for flexibility in post-COVID travel, preferring smaller group size and more personalized itineraries. When looking at the number of passengers per trip, we find that 27% of travelers are solo travelers, making a 4 percentage point increase from 2019. Additionally, 34% travel as couples, and another 27% opt for family-size group. Larger group travel with 5 person or more represents only 11%, reflecting a 6 percentage point decrease compared to 2019. According to feedback from various travel agencies, this year, the boutique small group tour that emphasize quality and service has become the new favorite in the tourism market. For young travelers, personalized options that meet their needs are becoming even more popular. Okay, now let's shift our focus to the fourth quarter and get an idea of what the recovery of Chinese travel would potentially look like. When we estimate the flight capacity for Chinese outbound travel, we have observed a consistent improvement throughout the year across the destination regions. In Q4, it's projected that seat capacity to Africa and Middle East will exceed 2019's level by 5%. To Europe, the outlook appears much more promising, with seat capacity projected to reach 75% of 2019 levels. Chinese airlines have played a major role in driving this growth, stepping in to fill the gap left by European carriers due to the restrictions on flying over Russian airspace. Seat capacity to Asia Pacific is somewhat slowing down. The recovery rate is to reach 57% in Q4. While the Americas are currently lagging, there is positive news regarding increased flights between the US and China, as both countries have reached an agreement on the importance of boosting flights in the future. Following the recovery in seat capacity, when we look at travel trends in Q4, it appears that Africa and the Middle East are on track to reach near pre-pandemic levels. And since November and December are typically quieter months for Chinese outbound travel to long-haul destinations, we can expect a decline of 44% in travel to Europe during this period. To Americans, though still in a slower recovery phase, hold the promise of brighter days ahead. China and the US have laid out plans to host the 14th China-US Tourism Leadership Summit in the first half of the 2024 in China, to further enhancing tourism cooperation between the two countries. This effort points towards a future of strengthened ties and resurgence in global travel. And Asia Pacific is currently showing a 48% decline. However, due to the relatively shorter lead time, we can expect a brighter outlook in the near future. Okay. 3 takeaways before I hand the floor over. First, the economic downturn in China has not had a major impact on tourism. Chinese travelers are now looking for more flexibility in their post-COVID trips, favoring smaller groups and seeking personalized and immersive experience. Second, the outlook for Golden Week holiday shows domestic travel 7% ahead, while outbound travel is 40% behind. Improved visa and flight convenience remain crucial factors influencing destination choice of Chinese travelers. And then seat capacity for China outbound travel has steadily increased across all destination regions throughout the year, with Africa and the Middle East projected to surpass 2019 levels in Q4. Exciting business opportunities can be seized in these new hotspots. Thanks. Over to you, William.
Thank you, Nancy. Thanks for that very interesting data. Now we're excited to share with you all the first time the results of Dragon Trail's most recent Chinese traveler sentiment survey taken in August. My colleague Janice will share some more insights.
Hey, hello everyone. My name is Janice, and I am going to introduce our new Chinese traveler sentiment report, which we will publish right after this webinar. This report is based on a survey of 999 million Chinese consumers who are interested in travel. We conducted our survey between August the 4th to August 11th, asking 39 questions about travel plans, outbound destinations, trip planning, travel safety, and product preferences. Our survey respondents were 55% female and 45% male, which is around the same ratio for the whole outbound Chinese travel market. And we also controlled for a representative age balance. The respondents come from 49 new first-tier and second-tier cities all around mainland China. Another thing to note about our survey sample is that all of them have interest in traveling, and 56.9% of them have traveled outside of mainland China in the past. In 2023, although only 4% of them had already done an outbound trip by the beginning of August, another 9% had an outbound trip already booked for later in the year. And more than 1/3 of respondents said they did hope to travel outbound in 2023, but hadn't booked anything yet by the start of August. And another 33% were not sure about their outbound travel plans. Only 20% of the survey respondents said they definitely didn't plan to travel outside of mainland China this year. So let's first take a look at the 4% of travelers who had already taken an outbound trip by the start of August. What is especially notable is how enthusiastic these early adopters are. They are really committed travel lovers, and 54.5% of them had already been to more than one destination outside of mainland China this year. 61.4% traveled within Asia, with 1/4 traveling to Europe and the rest visiting the Americas. Their list of travel destinations was very diverse. At the top of the list were the destinations that are most popular for the Chinese outbound tourism market: Hong Kong, Japan, Macau, and Thailand. Other destinations were countries all over Europe, North and South America, and Asia, including Denmark, Argentina, Iceland, and the Maldives. These early travelers were most likely to plan their trips just 1 month before traveling, but we do see some more long-term planning. This might be because one of the main reasons they gave for destination choice was visiting places they had already planned to go before the pandemic, but had to postpone going to until this year. And the most common trip length is 4 to 7 days. Our survey also included 454 people who had already traveled outside mainland China this year, but still plan to travel more, and travelers who had already booked an outbound trip this year, and those people who hoped to travel abroad still in 2023. So we asked this group about their travel plans. Looking at destinations, more than half of them planned to travel within Asia, but we can also see that Europe is a really popular region too, chosen by more than 1/3. In terms of which specific destination they plan to visit, Northeast Asia was the most popular, with South Korea and Japan at the top of the list. In our April survey, South Korea ranked only the 5th, chosen by 4.4% of the respondents as where they wanted to travel this year, and Japan ranked the 4th. Both countries were added to the group and package tour list in August. Actually, before this, group tours to South Korea had been banned since 2017 because of a political dispute. So things are really looking up now for Chinese tourism to South Korea. However, we should note that our data were collected before Japan's announcement of nuclear wastewater discharge so there may be some shifts in traveler sentiments towards this country. What is also very interesting on this top destination list is Iceland, who ranked the 5th. Iceland has never been in the top 10 destination list in Dragon Trail service before, but it suddenly surged to the top of Chinese travelers' wish list after going viral on Chinese social media platforms earlier this year because of traveler photos and videos of visiting active volcanoes. It has also been one of the most searched for overseas destinations on Xiaohongshu lately. And in the first 3 months this year, Iceland was the only top 10 travel destination on short video platform Douyin that was outside of China. While we have noticed some big changes in traveler sentiment in this survey, which we will talk more about later, some things have remained really consistent with our previous surveys. One of these is the purpose of outbound travel. So this chart looks extremely similar to those in April 2023 or December 2022. This means that we can very confidently say that the top motivation behind Chinese outbound travel are trying local food, experiencing local culture, visiting famous landmarks, and then enjoying natural scenery, including beaches. Now let's look at reasons not to travel outbound in 2023. According to the 20% of survey respondents who said they would not leave mainland China this year. May I have the next page, please? Similarly to in our January survey, the top reason was the personal financial constraints, with lack of time also an issue. One huge difference compared to January survey, however, is that fears around COVID infection have plummeted. At the start of this year, more than half of the survey respondents who said they wouldn't travel abroad this year said this is because they were worried about the potential impact of COVID on themselves or their families. And just 8 months later, it was one of the least important reasons, chosen by just 11.2% of the respondents. So safety is always an important issue for the Chinese travel market, and was the number 3 reason for not going abroad in this survey. So we took a more detailed look at traveler attitudes around safety overseas. Here again, we can see very dramatic changes in attitudes compared to our previous surveys, and definitely for the better. We asked the survey respondents to rate the safety of 16 destinations around the world as safe or unsafe, or indicating that they were not sure about this. We had asked about 13 of these destinations in our previous surveys over the year, so we can track people's opinions and see how they have changed. Compared to the last time we asked about destination safety in November last year, we can see dramatic improvements in the rating of nearly every single destination. Those destinations like Hong Kong and Singapore, which are still seen as the safest on the list, are ranked as much more safe than before and less unsafe. Let's wait a minute for the slides. Okay. And so the European countries enjoy relatively good safety rankings now, and rankings have improved similarly for Australia and Canada. Also for the US, which received terrible safety ratings throughout the pandemic, has improved safety perception considerably. In November 2022, 67% of the survey respondents said that it was unsafe to travel to this country, and only 7% said it was safe. This itself has been a big improvement from September 2022, when 87% said that the US was unsafe. But now, just 39% of the travelers still view the US as unsafe, with 24% choosing safe and 33% 7% onshore. The only destination that has seen a decline in safety ranking is Thailand. Its safe ranking is around the same as last November, but it is now ranked by 51% as unsafe, compared to just 28% the last time we asked this question. Thailand has gotten a lot of attention for online rumors about kidnapping and human trafficking, as well as some cases of Chinese tourists being robbed, which is creating some challenges for this very popular tourist destination. And looking further at how Chinese travelers view safety when it comes to overseas travel, we see that for 95%, the concern is about personal security, including theft, assault, and gun violence. And 68% also worry about their property security, with risks of losing money through fraud or scams. In terms of what steps Chinese travelers would take to alleviate concerns about safety when traveling abroad, this is a major motivating factor behind joining tour groups, as well as purchasing travel insurance. And for our following an exciting long-haul destination part, our colleague will continue it.
Okay, this time we decided to conduct a deep dive into the appeal of long-haul travel regions around the world. We first asked travelers which world regions they were interested in visiting. Then we asked everyone who was interested in a particular region to write down which destinations, attractions, and activities appeal to them the most. This allows us to see a lot about traveler knowledge and motivations, and should hopefully be very helpful to long-haul destinations and tourism brands. The first region we looked at was Africa, and we can see that the pyramids and Egypt stand out as the top attraction and destination for Chinese tourists. They also have great interest in nature and wildlife. The African savanna, Great Rift Valley, Great Migration, deserts, wildlife, forests, and other natural attractions were frequently mentioned. Apart from Egypt, the other two countries mentioned were South Africa and Kenya. Chinese travelers are also interested in local culture and experiences in Africa, such as tribes and gastronomy. Egypt and the pyramids also came up frequently for travelers and interested in the Middle East. So we can see that Egypt is regarded as a really important destination in two world regions. But Dubai is by far and away the most popular destination that comes to mind for the Middle East. Other top countries and cities in the Middle East include Qatar, Jerusalem, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. Meanwhile, travelers are also interested in nature scenery such as deserts and the Dead Sea, landmark architecture such as Burj Khalifa. And in Europe, the top three countries mentioned by Chinese tourists are France, Italy, and the UK. Among them, France attracts the most attention. Chinese travelers are interested in Paris and the Eiffel Tower, Museum, Notre Dame. But while Paris stands out as a focused point, survey respondents showed interest in diverse areas of European countries, including Germany, Switzerland, Norway, Iceland, Greece, and Spain. Cities mentioned include Rome, London, Venice, Berlin, and attractions encompassed both traditional architecture and natural beauty. For Oceania, Australia and New Zealand are top two countries Chinese travelers want to visit, followed by Fiji. Australia's appeal for Chinese tourists is particularly apparent, with Sydney, the Sydney Opera House, and kangaroos all frequently mentioned, and ocean is also a major draw in this part of the world, with survey respondents attracted to the Great Barrier Reef, Gold Coast, diving, Iceland, coral reefs, and seaside. The United States is the primary destination Chinese tourists are interested in visiting in North America. Among more specific destinations and attractions mentioned, only one, the shared destination of Niagara Falls, is in Canada. Chinese tourists to North America are interested in both parks and cities. They are especially interested in visiting nature parks such as Yellowstone and Grand Canyon. Meanwhile, they also want to visit modern cities such as San Francisco and city-related tourist attractions like Hollywood. And last but not least is Latin America, where Brazil, Mexico, Peru were the four most popular countries. Iguazu Falls and the Amazon rainforest are the most frequently mentioned tourist attractions, which are all nature scenic spots. Survey respondents are also interested in unique local cultural experiences, such as visiting ancient ruins, experiencing football culture, and try local cuisine. Where are Chinese travelers finding out about various destinations about the world? Chinese social media platforms like WeChat, Weibo, and Xiaohongshu are by far the most popular information sources chosen by 72% of people. After this, we see a number of trusted information sources, including professions, travel agencies, and tour guides, and personal contacts like friends and family, other online sources including travel blogs, KOLs, as well as online travel agencies such as Ctrips. In our last survey question to share today, we asked about product preferences for travel. The overall ranking of different elements was nearly the same as we asked this same question last November, though affordable pricing has since become more relevant. Back in November of last year, both domestic and international travel was heavily restricted because of COVID. So that could be one reason for the change now. And we could also see the friendly service has moved up one place to the fourth most important element. That's probably implying that the consumers are not only care about price, but also they will care about if the travel agency offers some friendly service. So that's all for our survey results to share today.
Thank you, Tiana. That brings us to the end of our sharing for now. But we have even more data and lots of further analysis of that data in the full Chinese Traveller Sentiment Report, which comes out today, immediately following the webinar. We'll send you a link to where you can download that together with today's presentation slides and the recording of today's webinar. And you should expect to receive all that within the next 24 hours or so. But if you want to read the full report sooner, you'll be able to find it after the webinar by going to the resources section of the Dragon Trail website. Next place, please. Also on the resources section of the site, you'll find our sentiment reports from previously done reports. In addition to these sentiment reports, our free online resources include videos, Chinese social media rankings for international tourism brands, marketing case studies and guides, and much, much more. You can sign up for our monthly newsletter for regular updates and future webinar invitations, and also follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook for more news and information every week.